Thanks so much for coming. That was super interesting. A lot of information. I'm here to talk real briefly about a little bit of a way that we can really look at a lot of this data all in one place, in one location, and that's where we come into this 360 VIDI. So Fruition Sciences is kind of historically been a StatFlow company with lots of different products, and now we saw a need for a transition into a little more broad spectrum of bringing lots of different sources of data together in one location, and that is where we have our web platform called 360 VIDI. So the platform is basically like a health chart for your vineyard. It incorporates lots of different sources of data that we either can link together with partners automatically, or we can bulk upload into our system, and you can look at some of those at the top there into your data, start making your analysis, and then it really is impacting your decisions that you're going to make as you're looking at these multiple sources of data next to each other instead of logging into multiple different sites and going from there. And then it'll impact your quality or your objectives, as Daniel was saying as well. So we're going to jump right into it. The applications, the way we look at our data, are broken down into a couple different features. The main one here is maps that I'll start with. And as you can see on the bottom here, we have a time scale of looking at all those different maps next to each other. We can quickly start comparing different vintages and different maps all next to each other, kind of broken up. Right here, this isn't just a map that is coming from like an aerial imagery provider or something like that. It can also be coming from data within the platform. So right here, it's water deficit. It could be sugar that just populates different blocks, different colors, so that you can really kind of zoom out and go to those areas that are most needed for your attention. Off to the farthest to the right there, you can organize all of your analysis under these little folders, and then start designating that to your team members or something like that. So the next portion of the mapping feature is really where we can start zooming in and using either a ground map like the PhysioCap is off to the right there. In the middle here we have an NDVI, and then off to the farthest to the left you can choose what you'd like. If you want to analyze maybe a pattern within the soil next to each one of those, or all of a sudden you're trying to recognize a pattern maybe in multiple different years next to each other, that's something that is available here. So that's part of that. The next feature is in the application is into the graphing. So maybe you can't look at your data over time, but this is a way that you can zoom into that a little bit deeper. And right here, we're just looking at a couple different blocks next to each other, but you can really start customizing exactly what you want all next to each other. It could be weather, it could be a lab analysis, or it could be something that you're doing from the vineyard. And then save those into what we have here is just under fruit maturity and up to harvest. But you could be looking at it in different seasons or different ranches, or really it's a customized platform for that you can just kind of build. Next, we go right into analyzing different years. I know a lot of people keep their data into a big Excel format, and it's hard to just drop in another year. So that's what we have here, is where you can easily just recall different years of data that you have and start analyzing that data so you can make decisions really for what's happening this year's, and then using those decisions that you made in the past as well to really help for decisions for the future. So those two applications come together in more of a precise, small way here of what we call dashboards. And this is the small cards all next to each other that we created so that you can quickly view this information if it's something at the very top there, like weather stations that you want to compare. Maybe it's just a local one versus what you have at your property, or you want to go into real mapping features. Each one of these are interactive, so you can play with each one and really start zooming into there too. Or you can click kind of on one of them and they'll expand and just look at that real briefly. So it's also available on your phone. If you want to look at something like this, daily and say, okay, where am I at growing degree days from last year versus this year? It's, a 2-second process. So all of those can, again, be organized, or you can toggle kind of the privacy there of those too. So if you want to share that information, or you want to, send it out as a report or something like that. So part of the downloading option, you can pull out this information as well if you want to, create kind of more of a custom report. And then we set up quite a few notifications too here, where we can set up highs and lows, and not just for a weather station for a frost alert, but also something like data that's coming in from the lab, or information that's on a deficit irrigation schedule or something like that. So you can go through those and set up text messages, emails, and really start using this as much as possible in a powerful tool. So that's it that I can go into detail right now, but there's lots of information obviously in depth to this. If you want to know a little bit more, then I'll be in the back here. We'll go from there. Thanks.